What's the world record peach throw?
I don't know.
See, you could own that, and I'm like nobody could dispute it.
Right. I'm not a huge fan of like made up world records.
Yeah, I think it was last year. Maybe it was last year. Uh, I want to say it was Dan McKim. He posted a video or something like that throwing a golf club, and he was like, "That was a world record with a 9 iron."
Yeah.
And we had a games like the next day, and somebody brought a 9 iron and was like, "Let's take a run at it out there as a a 10th event, hucking a 9 iron." And you get a good 200 feet or so out of those things. So highly recommend.
Oh, that sounds awesome.
Yeah, if you got room for it, I mean, do it. Throw the 9 iron.
Yeah. I mean, I guess like you can get a record with every single one of the clubs if you want.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Hmm.
But yeah, that's fun. How have things been with you in the land of Excelsior or whatever? I don't know what your state's called.
Empire State.
That's right. But
Um,
isn't your
no, it,
motto Excelsior?
yes,
Yeah.
yes, it is. No, it's just busy, busy times up here. I'm on my summer break, which means, and we're planning to sell our house here in the fall. So it's been reno and projects and training and prepping for games. We got a bunch of events coming up soon. Just slamming away at it. Parenting.
Yeah.
That's fun. That throws like a very fun wrench into the whole thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Babies are a handful.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, they're fun. It's the toddler who's giving me a run for my money. The baby's not too hard. He's stationary, you set him down and he's not moving.
How old is he?
Um, he's coming up on 4 months.
Yeah. Yeah. Ours is at 6 months now, and he's starting to move a lot. He can roll pretty good, which you can't take your eyes off him for too long.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. The toddler went really, really quickly from just like, hey, I know some words and I can talk to now like I can argue and I can scream and I can, all of that. So
Yeah.
it's like, all right, I find like 10 times a day I'm in negotiations with a 2-year-old and it's like,
You know, it's so hard to win those.
yeah, plus it's like it's just arguing with myself. Her attitude is my attitude. I've done this to myself. Uh, we'll get through it.
Yeah. I get a lot of that with the 10-year-old. That's cool.
Yeah, they tell me that it gets worse.
Yeah. I think it gets worse until it gets better, but there's always like there's a light
Yeah,
somewhere.
that could be 20 years.
Yeah. But there is a payoff, so like hold that down, I guess. But that's cool. How's training been?
Man, spotty. It's been a weird year of like training around injuries and stuff. I got a torn meniscus right now. They ran me through all this PT and did the MRI thing. It was like months of not knowing what was going on since April. And finally were able to tell me for sure, like, yeah, your meniscus is torn. And I was like, okay, what should we do about that? And they were like, well, we don't have to do anything. So I guess I hit that age milestone where they're like, yeah, we can just leave it. But no, I kind of lost my right leg, which is problematic. It's very weak. So I've been trying to get that back, trying to train, trying to keep 9 events sharp.
Hmm.
Other little aches and pains, you know how it is.
Yeah. You just had
But we
you just had lightweight nationals. Did you do anything specific kind of building into that, or just same stuff as usual?
it was definitely kind of running through all the events, trying to make sure that they're good. But um, you know, from the last time that we talked, like I take a lot of joy in like looking at all the numbers and kind of
Yeah.
like studying everybody. And I was trying to figure out like what I like a pathway to victory, right? Like
Mm.
what do I need to do? Like, what do I need to show up with in order to stand a chance here at getting on the podium against this group of guys? So my weight over bar has been my weakest event, and it's the one that's struggling the most with the bad right leg. So a lot of WOD practice didn't quite serve me too well anyway. Whatever. But yeah, just doubling down on those things that needed to be stronger and making sure the other things don't drop off.
I like to count wob as just a wash. If it's good, it's
Well, that was
good.
my
If it's
attitude.
not, it's not, you know.
Yeah, that was my attitude going into it. I was like, Jesus, if I don't like looking at this group, if I can't pull off a 16 footer on that day, I'm gonna get 10th place. And I was disappointed because I didn't get the 16 footer where I totally could have. I, I didn't get the mark I wanted, but I still ended up, middle of the pack there. So it's not, I didn't get as buried as I thought. But
Mhm.
now after the fact, after the games, I'm looking back at it and it's just kind of part of the fun for me, or maybe it's just reflective, but I'm looking at the marks like, okay, what would I have had to do differently to get onto that podium, right? Because I think I finished about 6 points off of Brian.
Mhm.
And I was looking back at all of the events, like, okay, where could I have, easily made up a few of those points? And it's like both our stone events were so extremely tight. It's like a couple more inches,
Yeah.
and I would have gained some points. A couple more inches, and so like I was not at all displeased. Like I threw either my average or above average all the way across the board, pretty much all day. And average just wasn't going to do it. I knew that, so whatever. I should have thrown above average in all of the events, and then I would have won something.
Yeah. You know, and I
But
think,
yeah,
man, I think if you were probably clean on weight over bar, like all the way up to 16, I think that would have made up those 6 points pretty easy.
probably. I mean, I was looking at the stones, like Braemar. Um, yeah, I am pretty confident each day that I go out that 33 is in the tank.
Hmm.
So, okay, didn't hit my 33. That was like several places right there. Um, Same with like heavy hammer. I got an 85. I should have got an 87 or something like there's a couple of points here, a couple of points there. So kicking myself a little bit over that, but overall, like it's not too much to complain about. That was a just brutal flight of guys to
Yeah.
throw with.
You know, like stones are like stones and weights, when they're like tight like that, it always just frustrates me because like it's like, oh, I just lost 4 points on 3 inches, and like oh
Inches,
yeah,
right?
that's fun. That always makes me feel
Yeah.
good.
Yep. And then, I'll spend the entire drive home being like, did I have my pre-workout like too soon? Did I not have enough pre-workout? It's like all these,
Yeah.
and that's actually almost kind of like speaks to how much fun it was in a competitive group like that. Because if it's a blowout, that's not the conversation you're having with yourself later on. It's like, oh, there was no 9 point day. There
Mhm.
was no eight. Like Jeff got first with 24 points.
Yeah.
Who the
Yeah.
hell does that? That's like, you're averaging second or third place across the entire day and you end up in first place. Like that was just how bad we were kind of trading blows all day. So I couldn't have asked for better on that front, except if Greg came. Wanted Greg there. Craig.
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 You know, I haven't talked to Jeff in a hot minute. Is he practicing these days, or is he just still doing what
No.
Jeff or does?
No, Jeff's just doing what Jeff do.
Yeah.
He did Enum Claw the week before as practice.
Yeah.
That was his practice.
I bet.
Yeah, no, watching him like it's tough. It's like, and I used to try to like, the first time we ever threw together, I was recording the whole group, not just for like study. Like I wanted to be able to watch things back later and compare technique with some guys that are sort of shaped like me. And I didn't really record Jeff a whole lot because I couldn't figure out anything from him. It's like you don't move, you're not built like me, you don't move like I do. And he's been doing it long enough. He's got like 16 years in. At this point, he just kind of knows how to do it, and he's got the 7 foot wingspan. So
It's yeah, his wingspan is obnoxious. It really is.
yes, and he's also a masters. I don't know exactly how old he is, but he's got all the same ailments that they all do. Like there were 7 out of 10 masters throwers there, and they're all patched up, taped together. Like they take a throw and a whole body part kind of comes off, and they have to go get it out of the field. And then they just they patch themselves up and they come back out for their second throw.
Yeah.
And I kept thinking surely this is going to slow some guys down, but it didn't.
Yeah. This is like I don't know, it kind of like proves my statements that like I've always said that if you want to compete in the games, like at a pretty high level for forever, just be a lightweight. Cause you'll only get better until you hit like 50 and then it starts to kind of go down. But, but even then, like you're still pretty competitive.
Yeah, I mean, they definitely keep it pretty impressive. I'm thinking, Shane is like 47, I think.
Yeah.
Jeremy's over 50. But in fairness, he did have to back out for injury reasons. So,
That's why he backed out. Yeah.
hmm
Well,
yeah. And so they tapped Bronson Germano, who I've never met, never thrown with him before, but he was going to be there at Dublin anyway, and he was actually pretty high up in the rankings, so it made a lot of sense. And he did phenomenal. Like he shook things up in a bunch of places where he ended up in the middle of the pack for an event and
mm,
affected the outcomes. I think he got seventh in the end.
yeah. Yeah. I've never, heard of him before, and I read his name wrong. I was like, oh, Bronson Geronimo. Whoa, that's crazy. That's a crazy name.
Great name.
I can't read, but
Yeah. Yeah, he
yeah,
was good. And when Greg had to back out, Billy Keeley got the invite, and him too. The two of them were trading shots there on several events. So
yeah,
glad to have him.
yeah. Austin and I, we had a good laugh about Jeremy and how he retires for just the off season, and he's like, well, I'll throw a little bit here and there, and he's like, I'm just not going to try for nationals or worlds or anything, and well, there he goes again qualifying.
Yeah, it's like I think Shane kind of does the same thing. He's like, I don't know if I'm going to continue to do the weight cuts and all of that, but then that invite comes for the championship, and it's like one last ride.
Yeah. Well, and like if you like weight wise, if you're not far off, it's like, why not? Like it's not that big of a deal.
Yeah, of course I want to go to Dublin and have part of my travel comp.
Yeah, that's that's nice.
Yeah, that
Yeah,
was a good day.
yeah. How was the field? Because like I've talked to people and they are quietly referring to Dublin as like PR city.
I would call it favorable, but not egregious.
Okay, that's kind of what I figured.
Yeah. So the hammer trig was like the field was flat where you threw hammers, except where the trig was like up on a pedestal. So you're a couple of feet up.
Mm,
You're not gaining stupid amounts of distance there. But sure, you're not. It's not perfectly level. It's not uphill or anything like that. We did throw stones kind of uphill. And then the weights, we were like going across a hill on weights, and none of us could pull it around to throw it down the damn hill.
yeah,
Like everybody's throwing their shots up the hill, and like because the trig was hard. The trig was also kind of sloped. Like your feet weren't hitting the ground when they were supposed to, and a lot of fouls.
hmm yeah. That's cool. I never got a chance to make it out to Dublin. I wanted to, just never was able to make it happen.
That's got to be the coolest festival I've ever seen.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like I was almost getting a little bit annoyed during the run up because I was working hard on all this promotion because I want it to be like, all right, you invite the lightweight class for our championship to your games. I'm gonna do everything I can do to give you to like make this super billable experience, like get butts in seats, come watch this championship. So I made all this content about it, and they like kind of didn't even acknowledge it. The festival, Dublin Irish Fest, didn't really acknowledge it. They're doing all their own promo, and they never even responded. And I'm like, huh, well, whatever, fine. And I showed up and I kind of figured it out. Like, heavy athletics is one of many, many, many things going on there. That park is like a city,
Yeah.
and they got, half a dozen different band stages, and it's a music festival. And that's why everybody's there. And so this is a cool thing for people to watch. But there's 50 other cool things.
Right.
So thankfully, so it was also kind of like a weird timeline. So we started at 2 p.m. and we finished close to 10.
hmm
And then afterwards had a little bit of time to like walk around the festival. But yeah, man, you could, it's like a 3 day thing. You could seriously spend 3 days there and not quite see it all.
That's incredible. Yeah, I mean, I've had moments like that where like I go to a festival, I'm like, oh wow, like we are one piece of the puzzle here. Like the first time it happened, like was in Minnesota for amateur worlds, and I was like, they got fucking elephants over here. Like
Yeah.
that's a
I love it when we are central, you know. I love it when like the festival is kind of staged around us it's like you're gonna catch heavy athletics on your way from this to that.
yeah,
You know, I hate being stuck off in like some armpit part of the venue that,
yeah,
you know, people really have to go out of their way to come see us. And
yeah,
this wasn't that. Like we were one of the main entry gates. Like you had to walk by us to get into the festival, but people had their, you know, they knew what bands they were there to see. They were on their way to their stage to go see them.
right. I mean, I again, it's just because this is what I do, but I prefer when like the festival's like main focus is athletics, and then like the music and the vendors are secondary, because like that is a thing. It's not like I'm just making that up. Like it's definitely some festivals like Alaska, like Alaska has a ton of stuff going on, but like athletics is a big part of what that whole festival is.
Yeah. Yeah. That's like, you know, Capital District, I think is the same way. It's like
Mm.
where the field is situated. It's super easy for people to, you know, it's easy for them to go and check out whatever other aspect they want, but it's pretty centralized.
Yeah, yeah. I I was blown away last year when you told me that like there's a whole nother like arena for bagpipers at Capital District. I'm like
Mhm.
because like I never left the field. Like the field in the tent is as far as I got that day. I'm like, there's
Yeah.
more.
Yeah, well, that's who, you know, that games is hosted by the Schenectady Pipe Band, and that's definitely their focus.
Oh
They
yeah.
want it to be the biggest gathering of pipe bands in, you know, such and such a great distance. So, you know, they get the grandstands and the parade route and all of
Mm,
that. They've done mass bands there with just hundreds and hundreds of pipers, and that's super cool. And people always, you know, there tends to be like this tide that like goes away from the athletic field for a while, and it's like, where the hell is everybody? Oh, they're doing mass bands. Everybody's there. But then at caber time, you know, you got on a good weekend 10,000 people crowded around athletics to watch. So
unless it's
last year I
raining.
think we got rained on
Yeah.
for that 30-minute block.
The entire time
Yeah.
it was just like, yeah, it's gonna rain. Great. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Got some good ones picked out for you this year though.
Oh, do you? Because last one was hard.
No, it wasn't.
I don't know. Maybe it wasn't. I'm just being a baby, but I didn't turn it.
No,
So,
I can't use that one again. Last year that one was 21 foot and like 110 pounds and it's felt about right, but it's dried out too much. It's like 90 pounds now.
oh yeah, yeah.
So I got one that's a little shorter but heavier.
You could have just made up a weight and said it was like 160 pounds. That'd made me feel better.
Did I say 110?
You did.
I meant 160 pounds.
I mean, that's kind of what I figured. Yeah,
Yeah, I put a steel core down the middle of it.
that'd be that'd be rad. It'd be a lot of effort, a ton of effort for
Yeah.
nothing.
No, I've got a couple that are ridiculous right now, and I'm trying to decide what to do. I don't want to shave them down. You know, once you take the wood off, you can't put it back on, right? So
Right.
they're both sitting there right now at like 185 pounds. It's like they can be anything. What do I want them to be?
That's fun. Would you shave them down to like all the way down to like 110?
I don't know. I have a hard time getting them that are long enough to be competitive as like A cavers or pro cavers
Mm,
without having like a kink in them or something. So the fact that I've
right.
got two decent straight ones, I don't want to shorten them. So I might try
Yeah.
to slim them down a little bit.
Yeah. I want more long cavers. You see a lot of short ones. 'Cause short, I mean, short ones are good from like an AD standpoint because like they're harder to break. But long ones are cool and they're uniquely challenging.
Yeah. Like I don't run any pro games. I'd like to. I assist here or there with them, but I don't I need one pro caber in my quiver, you know. I need a whole
Right.
bunch for the other classes.
Yeah.
So usually I cut them with the intention that this is going to be like a pro caber, and then as they dry, they get some stupid little shape in them at like the 5 foot mark. So okay, I take a 20 footer and trim it down to a 15 footer, and now I've got a great one for the, you know, the senior masters or something.
Right. Yeah. That's cool. I have you ever built a caber out of 2x6s?
Yeah, that was the first one I ever did. When I was like didn't know anything and
Mm.
I just got the information from the website. Um, that was what the website said, like for our local festival, was that cabers are 20 to 22 feet long and they weigh anywhere from like 120 to 160 pounds.
Yeah.
And and I was like, oh, okay. And I go and get a bunch of two by sixes and build one up that was roughly those specs. And even figured out how to like stand it up for myself, on a rock. And I actually got kind of good at picking it. Of course, like I couldn't do anything with it. Like I never got better than maybe 15 degrees with that caber.
It's
But
just crushing you as you're holding it.
it, yeah, it's like, I mean, I highly recommend that to anybody that is trying to figure out how to pick cabers. Get a stupid one, get a ridiculously heavy one,
Yeah.
and practice with that. It's the only time I recommend practicing caber is if you don't know how to pick it, you got to like get
Yeah.
something to simulate it and get in practice the pick.
Yeah. Yeah. I've had trouble recently with caber in games, and because like there is a big transition going from like A cabers to pro cabers. Like they are completely different. So I've been having a little trouble with that. So I built a caber out of 2x6s, and I hate it. I hate it so much. It has no taper. It doesn't want to
Hmm.
turn. It doesn't feel
Yeah.
good. I got to stand it up for myself. That's probably the worst part about it because it's been hot lately, and so like having to like throw the caber, drag it back, stand it up, and then throw it again is just a real chore.
Yeah. The built up one I used to have, I remember giving it taper. Like I put an extra, 5 feet or whatever of 2x6 on both sides on the top end.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, it's still like I was still no good. I think I was a good 3 games in before I actually turned one. And now, those were lightweight capers.
Yeah. You know what? Like the end of my caber has like the fat end. It's like the perfect size for like 5 pound plates. And I'm like, man, I want to just like tack on another 15 pounds of plate just like so I can have some like weight at the end of that and then slowly start like backing off. Cause like right now, like I'm gonna be honest, like I get really discouraged, like 5 throws in, it still hasn't turned. And I'm like, okay, this is a problem. But like an adjustable, but I can't figure out a way to make that make sense and not just break on the first throw.
See, my solution to that is I just lowered my expectations on caber. I don't expect to win caber. I expect to, and I expect to lose caber. And if I don't lose caber, that's great. It's such a crapshoot anyway. I'm thinking of the one we just did on Saturday, and like it was nice. It was good. It was a good stick, except that at the end of it, looking at the end, it wasn't round. It was like the shape of a bottom of the tree that has
Oh,
roots that
yeah,
go
it
off
was a
all
cedar
different
tree.
ways.
Yeah.
So depending on what point hit the ground, the thing would like flip and bounce all over the place. And of course, a bunch of guys got 12s. But I was like, I thought I had a good consistent series. None of them were 12s though, so it was good enough for about seventh place. Like, son of a bitch. That's
Yeah.
Caber though. I don't know. I expected 10th, so seventh was a win.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not a fan of throwing cedar cabers. They make me so mad because
Just the
they're
shape.
the shape, the quality, the feel, all of it. They're not heavy enough, and they're never long. They're always like at most you're going to get like a 20-foot one, like at most, and the end of that thing is going to be the size of a golf ball, and the fat end is going to be basketball or bigger,
Yeah.
and I don't know. They're easy, and I've never had a cedar caber that I haven't turned or one that I was like, oh, this is hard. They all just kind of go.
Yeah. For ours, the handle had knots on it. So like you had to orient the handle for where you wanted to grab it, which was wrong from how you wanted the top to be.
Yeah.
Um, and I'm like, I don't know. I hear people make the argument all the time when they have cabers that are crooked or they're like a corkscrew or they're they're bent or they're weird. There's something wrong with them, and they're like, oh yeah, yeah, it's like that on purpose. It adds to the challenge. Like no sale, no sale. That if somebody's a that just means that somebody who's a lousy caber thrower stands just as much chance as somebody who's a good caber thrower.
Yeah. I will say though that like it's kind of like a stone that you gotta figure out where the handle is. I do like a caber that you're like it's got a hook at the
Yeah.
end. Like which way I want to put it. You never put the hook like sideways. It's either going forward or backward. That's
Hmm. Yeah, I
but
do
like
like
which
some amount of problem solving with it. Sure.
yeah, but not a ton. Just a little bit.
I just want it to be straight. When it lands 12, I want it to freaking land 12 and not do some weird banana shaped rocking curve thing that sends it to the side.
Yeah. I just assume I'm not going to get a 12, even if it turns, even if I think it's a 12, because I've been burned before where I'm like, oh, I'm very confident that was a 12. And then they're like, one. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
What?
One day when I'm good at caber, I'm gonna like try to throw a 12. But right now I'm in this place where I just want it to turn. Like, give me a turn. A
Yeah.
turn is a smash hit success. Give me a turn. Because lately it's always, depending on who I'm throwing with, if it's a very mixed class and there's 10 guys and there's a couple of us that are throwing well, we'll have pick one that's like merciful.
Hmm.
But more often than not, it's what is the gnarliest thing we are allowed to use? What did the A's throw? Can we use that?
Yeah.
And so it's like, all right, and I understand we don't want to have like we don't want to rely on the judge with his caveman eyeball to tell us that like, oh, you won with a 12:05, Sonny, and he had only a 12:10. Like,
Yeah.
let's make this sporting and get a turn no turn situation.
Hmm. Yeah. Well, what are your thoughts on Pfeiffer's?
I don't believe in him.
So you're thinking like if it like goes up and then falls forward to the side and lands at like a two, like that's good as long as even though it didn't break 90.
No. I think if somebody is thinking, hey, that throw was a Pfeiffer, I think they should get whatever their angle score would have been. I don't think they should get a turn.
Hmm.
If there's side judging going on and the back judge and the side judge are kind of looking at each other like, did it break the plane? Like, did it go over? Did it go through vertical? And they're having to figure that out. That's probably an angle score, but I hate when it's called a foul and you get no score because you could get it damn near over and have it do a funny roll and Pfeiffer and end up in last place behind guys that didn't even have control of the stick. Like that's ridiculous to me.
Right. Yeah, you should at least get an angle. I mean, if I were commander of the universe, I would say Pfeiffer's count and you give it the clock score, but that's just me.
Yeah, if I was commander of the universe and I could just rewrite some rules, I think that would be up there, but it would be, you know, call it a Pfeiffer if you want, but don't give the guy a foul.
If you were commander of the universe, what other rules would you change?
Oh man, I should have been prepared for this question. Shoot. Oh, I'm so angry now that I didn't think of one of these.
Yeah. I got oh well. I had one, I just lost it. I got a lot of bones to pick with all the rules, but some are just hills I'm not willing to die on. I would just like to see it. I think the one that like I come back to the most is just the fact that, like Caber shouldn't count for the overall score. Caber is an exhibition. Unless it's a challenge caber, like separate. Like it shouldn't count to the day.
I wouldn't be mad at that. That's, I'm not a big Caber fan. More the better I get at the other events that are very objective, the less and less I like Caber.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
it's not just because I'm kind of lukewarm at it, it's like I don't like subjectivity in this, and I've lost games over it,
Hmm.
especially any place that uses Caber as the tie-breaking event. That practice to me is trash. Like first place event wins, yeah,
Hmm.
great way to break ties. Like let's work our way through that.
Yeah.
But when it's like, oh, we're tied for the day on overall points, well, what do we do? Well, who won Caber?
Yeah.
And then okay, well that let's take the most subjective event and make it where, yeah, somebody with a bad read on the
Yeah.
shot just lost you the day.
I find that to be the absolute craziest one. I've also seen Wob. Like, we use Wob as the tiebreaker.
Oh,
What? You mean the one with all the ties? Like that event?
there's definitely something that belongs in my top three Master of the Universe would change the rules.
Mhm.
Um, and I like having this argument with people from different places because everybody does it a little different. Up here in the Northeast, we have ADs who will penalize you. Like everybody agrees, you tie on WOB, you use countbacks to break the tie, right? But if countbacks are equal, there's disagreement on what you do with that, right? So around here, we've got some people who will penalize you for coming in early, and they'll say, okay, well, the guy who came in later, he took more risk, and so he ought to get the win in this situation. That's
Mhm.
Danny Webster put it in black and white this year and said that's how all of his games are going to be. Which, all right, if you're going to tell us up front that's what it is, then who's to argue? Um, we've also have the opposite situation where the guy who came in earlier gets rewarded for in that tiebreaker, and they'll give it to him because they count the skipped heights as misses, which is trash. And I
Yeah.
feel like the only right way to do that is, okay, it doesn't matter whether you came in at opening height or whether you came in 3 feet later. If you tied on countbacks, you split the points.
You split
It's a
the
true tie.
points. Yeah.
Yeah, not
Yeah.
everybody feels the same way, and some judges are like weirdly cagey about it. Where we will ask at the start of the event, like, in case this comes up because we tie all the time, how are you going to break it in the event of a tie on countbacks? And they'll be like, yeah, you'll find out. Where do you want to come in?
Dude, I've had a few judges where we've talked about the rules beforehand, and they're like it's this long conversation of explaining, like, and we're all kind of deciding as a committee what's the right like method here. Like my default is always just to split points, and then second goes to the person who comes in later gets it because of the risk. But I don't think coming in later counts as misses. That makes no sense. Cause like if you're like in a group of, I don't know, I guess I'm just like kind of running this through my head right now. Like someone comes in at like 12 and like, so everyone gets misses on those because like one guy wanted to come in low. I don't know. It,
And that's why I kind of understand the logic behind, the Danny version of it, which is don't waste my time coming in low at heights that, don't waste 20 minutes of everybody's time here while we go up from 10 feet to 13, which is where you should have come in anyway.
yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not for coming in early. I'm for coming in like where you're supposed to be. Like I think as an A, like you should always be like, your minimum height should start at like 12. Depends what region you're at and like what the group looks like, but usually 12 for amateurs, and I think 14 for lightweights or for like elite lightweights, at like nationals or worlds. Pros should always be 14 as like the minimum.
Yeah, we've started doing minimum heights on height events at competitions, just mainly for the sake of time. Like, we got to keep this show rolling. And I think that should always be the case. Like,
Right.
I, it does bother me just a little bit when you get the people who are whiny because, like, well, I'd like to start at 8 feet on WOB just so I can get a mark. And it's like, I don't want you to start on 8 feet in WOB so you can get a mark. You're gonna get no mark today, and that's okay.
Well,
Practice.
yeah. What I tell people is that like it doesn't matter. Like you want a mark on WOB, but like you're not you're not in the same ballpark in competition on that one event with everyone else. Like get better. Like it's not the worst thing in the world to just try and get better at it and be like, well, I'm eating dick on WOB like for the next year until I get better at it. Because you can get
So this
better.
this is probably I don't know. This take is not going to be popular with everybody, but I'm right. Um, with wob and sheaf, there's a height. I don't know what the height is, but there's a height for every class, we'll say, where if you can't make that height, it's not a strength problem. It is you have a technical mechanical malfunction. You're not doing it right.
Mm.
And it's like you can't throw the event. That's not to say you can't learn to throw the event or you can't throw the event better than you are right now. But if you're setting the sheaf standard at 14 feet with a 16-pound bag and you're a lightweight, you're a master, you're an amateur, and you can't make 14 feet, that's not because, oh man, I got to hit the gym and get stronger. That's because you need to learn how to throw sheaf because
Yeah.
me mechanically you should be able to put it over, 16 feet without breaking a sweat. It goes. It doesn't take a lot to make it go.
Yeah.
Um, so I don't know. That one doesn't sell too well.
Everyone wants to get a mark, and it's just not the end of the world. Like you will get more attempts later, and because like there have been times like when like I was an amateur that we're starting at a height that I wish we weren't, and I'm not going to complain about it. I just like, okay, well, I'm going to take my 3 attempts. It's usually a height that I've made before. It's not my opener.
Yeah, the last time we were in Utah, they were like, talking around, and they're like, where you guys want to start for WOB? 15? I'm like, you want to open at 15? Because I'm just hoping that I get 15.
Yeah.
But no, it's just that's just an event I need to fix, and I know that. I'm trying.
Dude, that year we all Wob took like 2 hours that day because like we came. I think we maybe started at 14 actually, 14 or
We did.
15. Yeah, and we didn't end until like 18, and everyone was in at 17 besides me and maybe you and Jeb.
Yeah, and and everybody was also like hitting it on their third attempt too. It was like I got a lot of that footage still, and yeah, you're right. It did take like almost 2 hours to do.
Yeah, that's one of those ones I miss whatever like height 15 or like 16 or 17 and I'm out, and then I go pout for a little bit and have some water, wander around and come back and I'm like, we're still in the same height. Like, how long have I been gone?
Yeah. This season, last season,
Hmm.
I started actually for the first time, like thinking about WOB, like giving it the same attention that I give to the other events when I'm trying to figure out the form. Because for the
Yeah.
longest time, like when I was new at it, it was like, yeah, it's weight over bar. Just be strong, throw it up over the thing. And one of my first games, I hit like 14 feet, and everything else got better, and WOB just stayed the same. And after a while, it's like, this is not competitive anymore. It's holding me back. And I started thinking about how to do it. And I don't know why. I don't know why. Some of the other stuff, man, it clicks quickly, and this just isn't.
Yeah. I'm semi content with the trajectory of my wob because like it's taking years to get PRs. Like I'm years between like in between PRs, and so like I can live with it as long as everything else is going up. I tell myself every year, this is the one. Like we're getting good at wob. We're going to practice it like 3 times a week. We're gonna figure it out. I just don't like practicing it, so I don't. It's not
See,
fun.
I can walk out and practice it anytime I want to, which is the nice part. But you don't. It's heavy, so you don't get as many reps in as you might get practicing something else.
Yeah.
And it's easy to neglect because around here, my reliable 15 with the occasional 16 is plenty good enough.
Hmm.
Like I'm gonna do fine with that, but it's not good enough in the rankings. Trying to get invites, it's not good enough when I get to those games and have to stay out of last place.
Yeah. Yeah. See, and you know that because you traveled to nationals and worlds and things like that. And that's what I tell people all the time is that like if you don't travel around, like you're going to get stuck. Like you're going to stop progressing because your 54-foot lightweight for distance wins every games you go to because
Hmm.
you're only traveling 2 hours from your house.
Yeah. And that's kind of what I was hitting on earlier, looking at the group of guys that was going to be there over last weekend. It's like, okay, there's a number of guys with really excellent lightweights. And this season, for whatever reason, my heavyweight's been doing well. My lightweight is kind of lagging. And so it's like I need to devote a lot of time to that because I don't want to eat 6 points in lightweight for distance.
Um,
And I think I still did.
yeah,
Yeah, say got Mr. Levi Peck with his 70-footer and
dude,
his high 60s.
that boy's on drugs or something. I don't know. Every time, see, and like, I love his how he throws lightweight so much that there's probably either 22 or 23. Like I started doing it, like how he does it. Cause his first turn, like he goes, like he has a big, like hop, yeah, big, like jumpy kind of first turn. And he lands and loads into it and goes into a sprint. And I was like, cause I don't know if he beat me in Sterling one year or it was close. And I was worried about him beating me. But I was like, well, he seems to be doing this pretty effortlessly. So I'm going to try it. Called the Levi Leap, trademarked. No big deal. It worked really well. Like it helped my lightweight, like for like the rest of the year. And I was happy with what that was. Cause my first turn was like either just dragging my feet on the ground. Like I wasn't getting up at all, or like I was over rotating. And this way I just found like a good little hop. But 70 feet,
Yeah.
as a lightweight, is nuts. It's like leaps and bounds ahead of everyone. And he's not the guy who I would have thought was going to do it. I put my money on Shane to do a 70-foot lightweight.
Yeah, I mean, he got like a 68, but
Yeah.
it wasn't his day. He kind of, I don't know. He wasn't happy with his open stone, something really early on. And after that, I think he got in his head, but no, he definitely showed up for weights. I mean, at least one of his shots, one of his three shots on both weights was
Mm,
pretty stellar,
yeah.
but
Yeah.
not like his gold standard, you know.
No, no. I mean, like, because he's a good stone thrower. He's a good weight thrower.
Mhm.
He's just not like he's good at everything except hammers. I think that's like
Yeah,
his Achilles heel. But like,
yeah.
I guess he figures like he's decent enough at everything else. Like he could be where he's at on hammers and not want to kill himself. That's what it seems like.
I don't get it, it is mysterious to me how he's got this many years in. I mean, he's got like a 20-year long career with, AMs and pros
Mm-hmm.
and lightweights. And I don't know, he just left the hammer problem unsolved, you know.
For years. Yeah. And I don't know, man. It is nuts that like because what do you throw it in? Because like the only time I've ever thrown against him was at nationals in 22, and I think he threw like a 72 or something like that back then. But
Heavy?
no, lightweight. I mean,
Oh, lightweight.
yeah,
Okay. Yeah, no, that's still on my to-do list for this season is to break some new ground in lightweight. Hate to blame anything, but the knee injury has slowed me down, and honestly, I think that is why the heavyweight has actually done well, because it's made me slow down.
hmm
It's like, hey, I'm actually moving slow enough right now to be patient when I need to be patient, because that's how long it's taken my feet to get where they're supposed to be.
yeah,
Um, and then I try and speed it up for the lightweight, and it's like I haven't lost anything, but it's not breaking through and going new distances. So
yeah.
gotta work on it.
I feel like there's a lot of people right now who are like just kind of stuck in their lightweight. And I was until I told myself I was just like what do I got to do? And I've talked about it before, but Justin Blatnick made a post about like breaking through like your throwing plateaus and like what's everyone do? Because he was talking about how his bottom is getting higher, but the ceiling's not going any higher. And I was like, well, I feel that. And I think Nate Burchett said just go faster, like make that like your success rate's going to go down, but like the ones you hit are going to be way better. And I was like, all right, I'll give it a try. And so I go out to like my next practice, and like I am whipping them out there further than I've ever thrown a lightweight before. And I was like, oh, so this is actually fast. What I've been doing before was not fast, but the
Yeah.
success rate is way worse.
Yeah, I fired a couple of bombs this year right into the woods, But no, I'm definitely, it takes me a little while every season. It takes less time every season, but I found, bouncing back to the field from the gym, in the springtime, I have to reacquire some stuff that, I learned it in the second half of last season and kind of forgot about it or forgot how to do it. And in the weights for sure, I'm just like too passive in the finish. I'm just kind of going through the motions or like riding out the momentum that I built in the first half of the throw. And so
Hmm.
this speed is not going up in that last plant. And once I caught on to that and started working on it, there was like good things happening. But I don't know. It's like I said, with all the life in the way, it's like I'll figure something like that out, and then it'll be like 2 weeks before I get back out with that
Yeah.
event. So
Dude, I'll have like these like little epiphanies of like, oh, well, like I'll be sitting like on my computer and like I'll look at stuff on my phone, like some like old videos. It's like, oh, you're not doing like this little thing. So like I write it on a sticky note and I put it on my desk. And the next thing I know, I have like index cards and sticky notes all over my desk. And I'm like, which one was
yeah.
the one? And I'm like, I'll just throw them away and I'll just try again some other time.
Yeah, somebody mentioned that, and I thought it was brilliant that like in their throw box they keep their cues,
Yeah.
for their different throws, and that they'll sort of check in with those at the start of an event or whatever, and be like, okay, make sure you bring that right foot around, like all the things you tell yourself in practice. It's so easy to forget. But yeah, check in with me in another few months. Maybe I've got it licked.
Dude, I I just think if like I had like a list of my cues or like what I tell myself before throws, it'll just sound like I have Tourette's. Like I just say like the most off the wall shit. Like I'm just like up top, up top, up top, up top. I just repeat that to myself and then I throw. It like it's nuts, but it means something
Yeah.
to me.
So someday, if you want like some quality content, just like mic me up for an average practice where I'm just out there on my own, and you get all the like the really hateful self-talk that comes out when like I mess something up.
Dude,
That would be worth a listen.
dude. People will be concerned for my mental health.
Yeah, yeah. I am not kind. I am my absolute worst critic. And I like to think that that doesn't like actually impact my next throws. Like I'll just give myself a fucking earful and then I'll go and, do a better job.
Well,
I don't know the truth.
I mean, like I've heard it a ton that like any amount of like negative self talk is like too much. Like it does stick with you on a subconscious level. So what I do is I lash out at myself and I say some crazy shit, and then I'm like, but it's okay. Like you'll be better on the next one. Like I just like immediately correct it.
Yeah.
So like,
Put a band-aid on it at the end. Like after you just stab yourself to death
yeah.
and then put a little band-aid on it at the end and be like, no, this one's gonna be better though. This one's gonna be
So
better.
like that's how crazy it would be to like listen to me mic'd up in practice. Like, what the fuck is wrong with him?
Yeah.
I'll try not to hurt
No,
my
the other
feelings.
the next thing I'm gonna try is to like bring one of my kids along, bring my daughter along because she can't hear me doing that. So
Yeah.
I'll have to just be like, oh man, that
Yeah.
one didn't go how I wanted it to.
Yeah. My kid's been coming to practice with me for a while, and we just had like the county fair where like we were like super busy for an entire week, and it was a lot. It was a lot to handle. And so she's like, I'm just going to take a break from throwing for the next couple weeks. And I'm like, you just started. What? I'm like, all right, fine. Take your break.
I need to
But
take a rest. My body aches. I need to take a hiatus from throwing.
I'm like, I need her back though, because like I'm coaching her the entire time, and I'm telling her stuff that I need to also tell myself. So I'm like, this is actually helping. I think the furthest heavyweight or the furthest heavyweight up until like a couple of days ago, and furthest lightweight I've ever thrown was because like she was in practice with me and she was throwing the lightweight as well. And so I was like, maybe, maybe there's something to that. Or I'm just trying to
Yeah.
show off for my kids. I don't know, because I'll do that.
No, there's something to that too. I bring them along every time.
Yeah.
Mine's right at the age where like she'll duck under the rope and run out onto the field and like won't answer if you tell her to come back. So I don't even know if she's gonna come out this year.
You gotta get like a tether for her and like
Yeah,
tied to
stake
the
her
tree.
to the ground.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Give her a little water dish and the little dig, you know.
yeah. One of those little igloos for shade.
Yeah. Yeah.
She'd love that.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm fortunate that my kid, like, she's like old enough now. She's like 10. And she wants to compete and stuff. And I was like, you can throw Highland Games. And she's like, what? That's not just for old people. And I was like, I mean, kind of is, but like, well,
Mainly for old
yeah,
people.
it's almost exclusively for old people, but I'm like, you could do it too.
But if you start young enough, you're going to be really good at it.
That's what I told her. I'm like, do you want to be a world record holder and multiple world champion? And she's like, yeah. I'm like, what starts today? Let's go. I
Yeah,
mean,
that's a good time. We got some juniors that throw with us around here, and that is fun, especially when it's like it's hard with kids that do school sports because they that's their thing. Those are real sports. This is like this is BS.
yeah,
And uh, any of them that are like into this as a primary and they they do school sports because that's what you do. But then they're most mainly excited. Like we at least one of them is he's looking at his Saturdays and he's like, well, I have a track meet, but there's a Highland Games. And I think I'm going to go to the Highland Games. Yes.
yes, do
Yes.
that. Destroy your future for this. Let's go.
You're not going to the Olympics.
Yeah,
Do Highland Games.
yeah. That's another thing I wanted to talk to you about because you mentioned that something about juniors weights and how
Mhm.
regionally you're going to do it a little bit differently.
Yes. So, um, we last year was the first year that we opened up that the Empire Throwing Club opened up our competitions to juniors, which isn't all of them. There's like two or three of our competitions have junior classes offered. And before I did that, like I had like all these little red flags, like how does this work with like waivers and how does this work with how does this work? And I work with teenagers all day, so like I wasn't like chomping at the bit here to like bring teenagers into my hobby time either. So that was part of it. And but you know what? Okay, if the mission is grow the sport, grow the pipeline, get more people into the sport, that's like a no-brainer. You've got to have a way to get young people involved. And so I did a little bit of surveying with ADs and other places, and I just said, hey, I know that this varies tremendously, but what does the junior class look like where you are? How do you do it? And people had really, really good input on that. Um, and I was right. Like it's wildly different in different places, and I totally understand why, we don't see a junior class in the database and why we don't have like why it's just not better organized than it is because the implements are different, the age groupings are different, whatever. So I had like two key takeaways from that, three key takeaways from that. One is that what they do overseas doesn't match what we do here, right? So there's in Europe, it seems like their junior division goes up to like 20 or 21 years old, and they have sort of like a U20 thing. I don't even know what weights they use. There's a set of weight standards that are published by like the Royal Highland Games Society for five of the events. And I think that U20 thing is like a Francis Brebner thing. Whatever. I haven't run across that here in the States.
Yeah, I
Um,
know in Scotland they had under 25s, which was
25s.
yeah, it was under 25s, and I think it was just mostly for like 18 to 25-year-olds to like have more opportunity to throw against their peers and kind of grow into the sport. It's a nice idea if like because they're developing their own like little pipeline for that. I
Sure.
don't think their weights for the under 25 like league were any different. I could be wrong.
So
Scott's join in the conversation and let me know.
yeah, the second thing I figured out was that the closest thing that we have to standardization are the implements that are recorded as world records via Clan Bacon. They're the ones who keep the junior world records, and so they have a set of implements that they use for boys and for girls. The same implements for boys and for girls, and circle back on that one. But thing number three was that hardly anybody who's running a junior class, most of the people I talked to running a junior class agree that those weights are not appropriate for boys
Hmm.
because of a lot of reasons. Like if high school boys throw a 12-pound shot put in track and field, why would they throw an 8-pound open stone in Highland Games? Like that doesn't make a lot of sense. Or, how do you take a 17-year-old boy who weighs 250 pounds, strong as an ox with throwing experience, and you tell him your lightweight for distance is 14 pounds, your heavyweight for distance is 21 pounds. You got him throwing the Masters women's weights.
Right.
And then the 17-year-old turns 18 and he goes from throwing a 21-pound heavyweight and wob to now throwing a 28-pound lightweight and a 56-pound heavyweight. Like that's just freaking demoralizing. Like
Yeah.
that's not progression. That's not helping that athlete.
Yeah.
So
That's been a great disservice to the juniors to like adult pipeline.
but okay. I mean, so there's some amount of agreement about it though that like these are too light, but there's not necessarily any um standardization for anything heavier than that. So I toyed around with it and I drafted some stuff up and I kind of shared it with some people. Said, hey, what do you think about this? Was because you can do whatever you want. I mean, that's Highland Games and it's also the junior class, so you can do whatever you want. You can do whatever you want. And from what I could tell, the biggest reason why people seem attached to those weights for boys is because, well, that's the standard. And sorry, but no, like it's not, it hasn't been around for that long.
Right.
And it's not, as far as I know, they're not using those to qualify for like any huge, like, like I think that some people like the idea that their kid is going to like break a world record in the 14-pound
Oh,
lightweight for distance or whatever. There's like a little bit of that parent ego thing happening.
I've seen it.
So whatever, I don't have kids that throw juniors. So, I kind of compared notes with people that do. And so this year, Empire Throwing Club, we're host one of our games in September, the Thistleday Highland Games. We're hosting the New York State Championship, which is something that rotates through a handful of games. The Buffalo Heavies came up with it a few years back, and it's rotated through their games until recently. And then they kind of liked what I was doing, and said, "Hey, let's add this one to the rotation." Great. All of the classes are represented, right? So juniors will be there too, and they can compete for the New York State Championship as juniors. Um, the guy who has been the AD for many a championship through the Buffalo Heavies, his name's Norm Deep. He's a Masters thrower. He's gonna has a very competitive daughter who threw in juniors until she aged out, and so he's invested in the junior class. Um, and he called me to say, "Hey, don't you think it's high time that we raise these weights for boys? Like, I think that the weights we have for girls are perfectly appropriate. They're throwing the Masters women's weights. They transition well into the amateur women's weights, no problemo. Um, but the boys need an adjustment." So I fully agreed with that. And I chatted with some New England athletic directors that run juniors classes as well, and they seem on board with that too. And so I said, all right, well, I can't control what anybody does anywhere else, and I don't want to. But here in this part of the country, I think we just agreed that this is how we're going to do it now. That we're going to use um, the well, it's not straight, it's not exactly the senior master men's weights. I'll tell you what we're using if you care. But it at least for the New York State Championship, that's going to be our standard moving forward. That the boys are going to throw the 35 as their heavyweight and wob, the 21 for their lightweight, 16-pound Braemar, 12-pound open stone, and 12-pound sheaf. And then I believe it's 16 and a 12 for their hammers, which, in my opinion, is actually going to help them progress into amateurs or lightweights a lot
Mm-hmm.
better. And if we're consistent about how we're doing it, and people know that each time they go to the state championship game, that's what they're going to have to throw, or any of our games, not just this one, that's what they're going to have to throw. And because I don't want anybody to be like upsetty that they can't have their big marks acknowledged in some way, because we've actually had a number of junior world records get broken just in the last year or so, and we've tried to get them ratified, and for one reason or another, it didn't happen. The records that are posted aren't the accurate records. Talking world records,
Mm-hmm.
uh, but so I decided I have a website. I will use the Empire Throwing Club website to host the state records using thof these implements. You know, all of the boys and all of the girls implements. If a New York State thrower breaks one of those records anywhere that they go, and they follow the procedure and they verify it, it's a state record. It's not a world record. It's not a national record. It's not, not losing sight of the scale of the thing, but they'll be acknowledged for that, and they'll have their name posted there, and they can brag about it, and they can strive for it. And I think it just adds a little bit of legitimacy to it, so we're not just doing one weird thing. And my hope is that if we are doing that here in New York and in New England as a standard, and we're making adjustments, if there's a kid that ought to be throwing the 42, that's an adjustment. If there's a kid that ought to be throwing the 28 instead of the 35, that's an adjustment. But if the standard rule is it's 35, and I hope other people who agree and think that, like, these boys weights are just not quite, they're not right, they're not the right thing, do what we're
Well,
doing, get on
so
board.
you said you'd make an adjustment to a 42 for specifically an individual, or
Yeah, and I don't know exactly what I would do with those scores, right? I
Mhm.
think I would count, I think in the event that, we're raising a weight, we'd just probably count the score as though it was, as though it was anything else. If we were lightening up the weight, I think if I was putting it into the database, right now there we don't have a database for juniors, right? Or anything that we do have doesn't have as a codified set of weights that are used.
Mhm.
I want to see that. I want that to happen. And if that happens, if heavy athlete decides they're going to run a couple of junior divisions of boys and of girls, and they use weights that are different than what I'm using, I'll stop doing it the way I'm doing it, and I'll get in step with that. But the documentation that they have about the junior class says that there's not consensus in the throwing community about what these age groups are and what these weights are. So I'm going to wait until there is before trying to define it in heavy athlete. Okay, I would like to see that happen.
Right. I agree with most of that. Like my only like thing would be just because like I've just toyed around with the idea of it. Like I think the men's or the boys heavyweight should be a 42. Because like you think about like how big most 16 and like 17-year olds are, they can throw the 42. Are they going to throw it 45 feet? I mean, some possibly could, but I don't know. It's not necessarily like to throw the farthest. It's like throw the farthest with that specific weight, right?
Yeah, I
It's
almost
the
want to make it
heavies.
like I almost want to make it something that you earn. Like the way that guys earn their way out of B's, and they, now they get to throw at the A's. Like
Mm-hmm.
I would almost like to have in my back pocket like a set of marks, and like it once you crack 30, whatever, 35 feet with the 35-pound weight, congratulations, you get a Capri Sun, and you now get to throw the 42.
Right.
Hmm.
Yeah, and that's not a bad idea. Like the only problem is just population. Like there's just not enough like juniors in the sport to like have like any kind of competitiveness with it. I think it would help for them to be on the database and a codified set of weights. Definitely split them up so they're not co-ed anymore. That does not help anyone. Does not help the sport in general. Not having them on there and having the men and women together, just not useful.
Yeah, no, I agree. There's so much more to it. Like the records piece of it, like that high end piece of it where kids are that proficient that they're setting records. That like I don't care about that. I almost put that in our documentation that like if you hit a world record, I'm not even going to try and verify it. That's not where my head's at, and that shouldn't
Mm,
be where your head's at as a junior. It's about, on the one hand, getting them onboarded with the events and with the athleticism that they need in order to compete as older people. But it's also about kind of bringing them into the fold of the community and what is the etiquette here and how do we treat each other? How do we talk to each other? How do you um, how do you be part of this? And it should be about growth and growing the community and growing the athlete, and not about like, well, my kid threw a world record, but with an 11-pound thief bag. So
yeah.
yeah,
You know,
those
and
don't exist.
I think that'll do wonders for retention is like having like ads and people in the community like acknowledge juniors as like a thing and not as so much as an afterthought. I think once they go through like 2 years or a year and a half or whatever of being a junior and they're now 18 and throwing the 56. I think you'll likely see them around for the next 10 years, right?
Yeah, that's my hope. I mean, we there's always all this talk about like games where there's lots of classes on the field as it is, or games that are like flagship games, and so you have a big pro class and stuff. I'm like, is it appropriate at that games that has the big pro class to
Mm,
also have a flight of juniors who are really just here to learn?
right,
Um, and every situation's different, but it gets under my skin a little bit when people are talking about it like, yeah, well, we're not going to run a juniors class. We don't want to deal with it. We don't want to bother with it. And it's like if you don't have any better reason than that, you're hurting the sport.
right.
If it's truly an issue of space. I mean, we have one of the games where we don't run a juniors class is on a relatively small field, and it's at a brewery. It's a grown-up playtime. We're gonna, I'm gonna make sure those spots are saved for adults in that instance. But we have other games where it's like there's no real reason, no logistical reason why we couldn't put 10 juniors out here if they sign up, and I want them to.
Right. Yeah, I like it. I think we should all get on board. Because I've talked about in the past to just changing the weights, and I think that'll just do wonders for the onboarding and the retention of everyone.
Yeah. My favorite thing about me changing the weights that we are using at our games is that it doesn't impact anybody but me. If you don't want to do it, you don't have to do it. And
Right.
I'm going to put New York State records on my website for boys throwing the 35. And if my games are the only ones where boys are throwing the 35, well then okay, that's a small pool. But
Yeah.
again, I'm hoping that the handful of other events that do host juniors in the state will kind of want that. They're going to want somebody from their games to break that record. They're going to want their local juniors to take a crack at it. So I'd like to see that adjustment catch on.
And I guess like part of the reason too why I think the heavyweight should be the 42 is just out of convenience. Like we all have them. I don't know anyone around me that has a 35, which like it's not hard to get. It's not impossible, but that's just another thing.
Sure. Yeah, I mean they're always with us on at our events anyway. And I had originally reached out to Clan Bacon when I was kind of pondering all this, and I said, hey, what would you think about just putting two implements there side by side? This is the heavyweight record with a 21. This is the heavyweight record with a 35. You could have one for the 42. Like if that's what it's about, and it's about is acknowledging the furthest throw. That's not hard to do. The megabytes are free, but
I mean,
for
I'm looking at it.
standardization,
I'm,
until we
I'm
have the flight, the class and heavy athlete where that all those rankings are based on
mm,
the 35 or the 42 or whatever it is, it doesn't
yeah.
really make a mess to use different things.
Mm. I'm looking at Clan Bacon's junior records right now. Shout out to Carson Bromwell. That kid is fucking tearing it up with those implements. Like, and he's got an 84 lightweight. Nice.
Yeah, we have a girl who turned out for she's one of Fred Johnson's athletes. She turned out for one of his games in the fall. Um, and she was 17 with like a 400-pound deadlift. She was absolutely nuts. She came to our training day, so I got to actually see her throw.
Mhm.
And she would have been she would not have finished last place at women's world championships that year.
Yeah.
She shattered all of the girls' records that are posted, and
Mm.
they tried to verify them, and they didn't get verified.
Jesus.
So I've got them listed as New York State records, and if somebody wants to make updates, there they are.
Yeah. That's cool. Things should change every now and again. Not always and not everything, but I think this is one of them.
Yeah, and this is something. This is not like it's carved in stone. This is not. There's not 1,000 years of rigid history around the junior class. This is still very much in our court to make it what we think it ought to be.
Right. Well, and you're the first person I've talked to that's really making a push for it. But by doing it at the games that you run and not just talking about it. So that's a good start.
Well, just putting it in writing. So, again, if nobody else likes the idea, then it'll be just me doing it. But I kind of think that some others are going to say, yeah, you know what, us too.
Yeah. What how many games do you guys do a year now? What's that looking like?
So we run 5 events. Three of them are competitions. One is a clinic, and one is a exhibition. So we're through with the brewery games at Broad Alban Gathering. We did our training day and
Wait.
judges clinic.
How do you say that one again?
Uh, the town, everybody who lives there called it Broad Alban. It's pronounced Broad Alban. The original Scottish town is Breadalbane.
Uh,
So for the event, the hosts spelled it Breadalbane, which confused everyone.
dude, I don't think I was saying any of those correct at all.
Yeah, Breadalbane, Broad Alban, same thing.
That's like almost
Um,
as bad for me as like SAAA did a games in California. The Idlewild. God, I probably got that wrong again. Idlewild.
it's
Fuck.
spelled a little silly.
Yeah, dude, I'm
Yeah,
so dyslexic. I can barely read. Okay.
yeah. So that one, that was great. We did a team thing this year. It was a veterans charity game. We got rained on a little bit, but that was the worst thing. Um, the clinic this year we added sort of the judge clinic component to it because like we've got this great thing going with athletes who want into games and all of that, but sometimes we're a little bit short staffed on um, help, that we kind of needed to work on that network of people. So we had Alex Duncan from Mazza come up and
Mazel.
run a judge clinic, and that got some good reviews too. And now we have a good handful of certified judges who actually kind of know what's going on.
Mm,
But yeah, more like over 40 people at that clinic this year, which is a new high number.
that's a lot.
A lot of people. Um, Next up, in a couple of weeks, we have the Long Island Celtic Festival. So we'll be going back there to do our thing. Last year we did exhibition, followed by some walk-on events. So that's like historically that's been around for like 40 years or 60 years or something like that, and
Mm,
that's how they do it. They do exhibitions followed by walk-ons. So for the time being, that's what we're doing. But I'm pushing them to um, expand that. I really badly want to turn that into a proper open format,
yeah.
and it's got all the
Do it.
potential. So, hey, working
Do
on it.
it.
Right now, it would pay out about $11 for first place, and like we gotta I think have a couple years in a row that are like a smash hit with that festival so that we
Hmm.
can justify coming back and saying, hey, how would you like to spend lots more money to get some of the country's best throwers here to, put on a killer games and get this really on the map.
Yeah.
Um, so that's coming up. It's a beautiful, beautiful venue, the Botanical Gardens. It's like throwing on a golf course. It's really cool. And we got, so Capital District Scottish Games is not our event. We don't run that. We're not in charge of it, but I help a lot with it, and it's sort of our big local one. So
Hmm.
tons of our athletes will be there throwing, and help a lot with the making it happen. Um,
I
and
like
we got
Capital
the
District. I'll be.
Capital District's a good time.
Yeah, I was told that there's a gravity cloud that sits over Altamont, and I think that's just rain. I think the cloud's just rain.
No, no, we've had some bad, ugly years there where, it's just like the sky is black all day and it's or just pouring rain. But like most of the time, knock on wood, it's beautiful and the crowd that turns out is phenomenal. I mean, the whole festival has all the bells and whistles.
Yeah.
So,
The venue's really nice because like you got like those like what would you call them, mountains in the background there.
sure.
I mean,
Yeah.
they're
Little
not
mountains.
tall, but they look like mountains.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's why the cell reception is bad.
It's
We get the
very
little
scenic. Yeah, it looks good.
Yeah, it's really pretty. I mean, it's like a kind of a it's a fairgrounds out in the country,
Mhm.
and there's just a massive, massive bagpipe presence. There's really excellent stage bands, and the food, the beer, the vendors, the clan tents, the everything. I mean, they you have to go a long way to find a bigger Scottish festival
You know,
in this part of town.
I didn't see any of that stuff. Hopefully this year, I'm bringing the entire family. We're all traveling up there, and hopefully I'll make it out of the throwing field.
Very cool. Yeah, the only thing, that we're up against there is, of course, it's Labor Day weekend. So, like, there's lots of pro games happening all over the place.
Yeah.
So, when we were trying to rebuild the pro class when some guys retired and moved away, it was like, we're going to really have to get this out there because I think, we had local folks, we had the same kind of little cohort of people coming back year after year. And there was 1 or 2 years there where we almost had no pros at all.
Hmm.
Now this year, I'm really looking forward to it. Like the men and the women that we have, it's gonna be pretty fierce.
Yeah. The we got. I'm going to be there. McPhee's going to be there. Uh, Jesse Bethke, Lauren Colthart. Colthart? How do you say his last name?
I say Coulthard,
I've
but
seen it on Heavy Athlete spelled differently, so I don't know what the correct
yeah,
spelling is. Either way,
yeah,
he's
and
a Scot that moved to Canada, which is I guess what people do.
yeah, yeah. Those four and Cam Newkirk.
Yeah, Newkirk.
So
I haven't thrown with him or Lauren before, so that'll be fun.
so when I was pulling numbers for that, I was kind of excited about it because we don't throw Braemar Stone and we don't throw Heavy Hammer at those games. So I used the numbers from the other 7 events.
Which is this the weirdest
And
thing? Every time I tell someone about that, they're like, "What?" Yeah, I don't know.
yeah, I
I
don't know either.
I don't hate it.
Uh, but it's what's interesting is usually that does not disadvantage the same person twice. Your
Yeah.
Braemar specialist is probably not your heavy hammer specialist. And so removing those 2 events from the total point score, it brought all 5 guys within like less than 100 points based on last season's numbers. So I'm just expecting it to be a bloodbath. I'm looking forward to
Yay.
it.
It'll be cool. I do
Yeah.
wish there was heavy hammer though. I could do without Braemar, but like heavy hammer can help my light hammer. Sometimes if the heavy goes well, the light's going to go really well.
Yeah.
But such is life.
So we got that to look forward to, and then at the end of the month, end of September, is the Thistle Day Games, and that one is, I mean, we're kind of rolling out the red carpet for it because it is a state championship, which we have fun with, and we're gonna have New England Stone Lifting will be there doing stone lifting demos and clinic. I actually just got a message today that so this is in a town called Argyle, New York,
Hmm.
which is Scottish town,
That's
and
just Albany, right?
Argyle.
Yeah, isn't that just in Albany?
Argyle is I don't know, it's like 45 minutes north of Albany,
Oh,
and it is a very small little country town. Their graduating class is like 64 kids or something like that. It's a pretty small place.
that's pretty huge for
Um,
where I'm at.
yeah, I guess that's relative, but it's small for us, and so they had this festival that they just started doing for the community by the town during right after COVID, when it was like, all right, we need something to get people back out and sort of rekindle the community spirit of this place. And they were like, what are our two things? Agriculture and being Scottish. And so that it's like,
Hell yeah.
you have like these, the bands are up there playing on like a hay wagon. It's like that's kind of the
Yes,
vibe of the
dude.
place. Afterwards, they have a huge fireworks display. They have a massive bonfire. But it's food trucks, and there's bagpipes, and there's vendors, and there's breweries and whiskey tastings and things like that going on. And as soon as I found out about it, I immediately like inserted myself. I was like, I'm doing this, and you guys can't keep me out.
Yeah.
And the first year was exhibitions, and then it was competition, and that's just snowballed into last year. We had almost 50 competitors at that one, so I was pretty pleased with that.
Yeah.
This year, uh, bigger, better. And I got a message today that the high school is doing a spirit week that runs up to Thistle Day. They have like competitions they'll be doing at the event, like, and they were asking us specifically if we could arrange like some 10th event nonsense for the local high school kids. And it's like, this is what we're trying to do,
Yeah.
you know. And we last year we piloted a kids games, right, which many festivals do, but
Hmm.
that was just a blast. Quarter off this 50-foot square and let the little kids throw, four or so of the events with little kid implements.
Yeah. That's one thing I'm super jealous that like I don't have where I'm at is a large Scottish population. Everyone in like Kansas, Nebraska, like they are all very German. And it's so like if I were to put on an Oktoberfest, like, oh yeah, dude, people are gonna come out of the woodwork for that and like be involved.
Yeah,
But I have to educate everyone I tell about the Highland Games, like I have to educate them about it because they just culturally just don't are so far away from it.
yeah.
But yeah.
We got invited to do a games or something at an Oktoberfest this year, and I was like I know that Oktoberfests are very often like a great venue for us to do our thing,
Yeah, beer.
and nobody who's visiting, I think, knows the difference. They just kind of like that it's going on.
Yeah,
But I feel so off-brand at an Oktoberfest. It's like, well, what's these guys in kilts doing over here? Are they just like at the wrong party? Like,
dude.
no, we were invited.
I mean, yeah, I would like it to if you ever do like a Scottish Games at an Oktoberfest that we're ditching the kilts when we're in Lederhosen. That
Well, so
sounds to be like that's the coolest thing.
one of our local throwing buddies kind of did that. He works for a German bar restaurant and is also into strongman. So he leaned into that for their Oktoberfest. He was like, I can't get Highland Games here, but you know what? I do have Lederhosen, and I'm going to hold strongman comp instead. And I think that is like right on the money. You can
Yeah.
tailor that to the Oktoberfest experience 100 different ways.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So
Dude,
if anything, I'm going to try and get him to do that, and I will help him because I don't want to do it, but I would love to help him.
dude, like the easiest thing and like it's like very cool is like the heavy mug holds.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
Stein
Dude,
hoisting.
I love that.
Yeah, the first year that we did it was rough. Like we had some heavy kegs, and the gist was we were going to have the heavy kegs out there and just do overhead presses with them and let people walk up and try it. But it was, it's not like we had like an area roped off for this, and we had like a table where people were going to like sign a waiver quick and like come do it. It was like a mosh pit in the street of people waiting for their turn to take this keg. And one of our buddies dropped it on his foot, broke his foot, and like that's that's how the first one went. And I understand that, since then it's gotten pretty slick.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
Oh my God, we brought out a pony keg, like a quarter keg to
Hmm.
do keg for height, but it was an empty one. We throw that for height all the time on the sheaf standards.
Yeah.
It's like maybe it's like 30 pounds empty
Oh,
and
less than that. Yeah.
less than that. And they brought out 20-foot standards and set them up in the street, like in the street festival. And we're letting these big dudes come up and throw them. And the first couple of guys, they're throwing them up over like 12 feet or 15 feet or whatever. And then you get just monsters coming in that sent them clean over, 10 feet over these standards. And it's just banging around in the street,
I was
bouncing
gonna
around
say
everybody, everywhere like
the
a wrecking ball.
the racket of that, it will just drive me nuts.
Yeah, there was no like soft place for it to land on. Like it would just land in the asphalt and bounce
Yeah.
like up into the crowd.
Yeah, dude. Dude,
You gotta
kegs
shut that one
bounce. They,
down.
they definitely
Kegs
do.
bounce. Kegs definitely bounce.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
So
cool.
that's mostly what's on our docket. We do a season closer, which is sort of a collaboration. There's a couple of senior masters throwers in New England, Jim McDonald, Robert Sims, who we team up for that one, and we have a great big end of the year party in October, which this year is unfortunately right on top of Lightweight Worlds. So I don't have an invitation yet to Lightweight Worlds. I may get one, but I'm trying to decide if I can ditch my own games for a weekend and leave them in charge of it. And I'm sure that I could do that.
It's worlds.
Well, I mean, having three ADs in charge of a thing is kind of beautiful in that way. It's like, oh,
Right.
I can come early and set it all up, and I can come later and tear it all down, but I can't be there.
Yeah. That's cool. Unfortunately, I found this out after I set the date, but my games is also the same weekend as Lightweight Worlds. So
That's right.
that's cool. So if
Yeah.
any lightweights are listening and know for sure they're not making it to Worlds, I got a place for you. It's going to be
How
fun.
m- how many athletes are you taking for Free State?
All of them.
All of them. You
Yeah.
don't have a number in your head, like we don't have room for 40 guys.
No, because like since we're doing 5 events, I can have 120 people out there, and only doing 5 events, like 10 person groups each event, but like stones and weights are going to take, you know, 20 minutes at most for 10 people to get through. And so you can easily like just move people around. But so there's no cap, no cap. Sign up, please.
Nice. I
I
saw
don't
the
think.
swag go up.
Oh, yeah. That's
I saw that go. Yeah, got to place my order. Those are sweet.
I'm quite pleased with that. That's a design I've had in my head for a while, and then I mocked it up a couple months ago, and I was like, kind of like this. Showed it to some people, and they're like, yeah, it's good. And then I like had a professional fix it and make it look like how it's supposed to. And I showed it to everyone else. They're like, oh yeah, if I can run with that. And I was like, okay. So there they are. 9 Point Athletics t-shirts for sale, pre-order right now, $30 shipped. So pretty excited about those.
Very cool. You guys doing the whole rolling out the whole media red carpet too? You gonna have the videography going on and all that razzle dazzle?
Yeah. So I got a photographer coming. He, he's pretty new for doing like Highland Games photography, but, dude's great. He has expensive cameras that work really well, and he knows how to use them. So, dude, he's coming. Then we
Nice.
got the Highland Games media coming out, and are going to video the pro class and cut it up, make some cool shit with it, and so I'm really looking forward to that.
Yeah, I just linked up with him for the recap on Lightweight Nationals because I would like to see his channel just
Yeah.
explode.
Oh,
I
dude.
want that. I want. I knew I was doing that recap, but I don't. I have a YouTube channel for other things. It wasn't for this. I had no place to put the video, and I was like, I don't want to create a channel that has no viewership and no audience, and then try to like make that when I'm only going to do this once or twice a year for the lightweight championships. I
Right.
want his channel to do it, and I want to be able to go to his channel any day,
Hmm.
during my lunch break or whatever, and consume, some pro games or some championship games that went on in some part of the country. And like right now, as far as I can tell, he's the one who's doing the long form content, and I don't see anybody else doing it, or at least doing it like with the attention to detail and edits and stuff.
Well, because he's actually good at it. Because like I've put up 20 full games on my YouTube, and they're they're very boring unless you want to watch Highland Games, and you're dissecting throws, and you're like me, who's just a complete fucking nerd for this. Uh, my YouTube channel works, and my videos they will scratch that itch, but he has a better understanding how to edit videos and do overlays and things like that that I just don't possess. And so that's why I'm having him out to do it, is because he does way better than I can.
Yeah, yeah, preach.
Yeah. But yeah, so that's going to be fun.
Who's on the mic?
That's to be determined. Dude, it might be me. That's
You were telling me at home games about, your vision for,
yeah.
the get up, and
Yeah.
I would pay money, to see you in a spangly suit with, the pointy toed shoes and a 10-gallon hat
Dude,
announcing this.
I need something. Like I had I'm
A
gonna
nice
cut.
Homelander cape or something like that.
Dude, I just dress as Homelander. Fucking,
You could.
I mean, who's gonna stop me? Um, yeah, I got big plans, and we'll see what all comes to fruition on that.
No, I definitely kind of want to see that sort of media pop off. I think there's so much, it adds so much value, especially after big games, for people that missed it or weren't there or want to watch it
Mhm.
back, like to be able to go watch something that is well done.
Yeah.
I think that would pay back in spades. And I think that whoever really gets a handle on it first is going to become a destination for people who want to be in on that. Like if
Yeah.
you like, like if the pro athletes are trying to build their calendar at the start of the year, you've got your list in your head of where you'd like to go and why you'd like to go there.
Hmm.
Oh, they cover tons of travel. Like it's basically free to go there, or I'm going to make good money there. Or I like I can take my family here and spend the whole week because it's a really cool place. And so like every game's got their little something, right? I think people would line up around the block to come out to the game that has the best media coverage of Highland Games.
Yep.
I want to
Yeah.
be in that media.
Yeah. Yeah. I definitely think that that could be a real selling point in the future. Um, we just got to support it.
Yeah.
It's like,
So what I
and
was talking to Billy there with Highland Games Media about was like, call us an affiliate or whatever. Like I'll make the content. I'll give you the content to host on your channel, and as long as it passes your, quality control,
mhm.
you use it if you wish. I don't need anything from this, but I would like to see that become a trend, that instead of groups trying to just sort of like forge their own way and do it themselves on YouTube, like if you're lousy at YouTube and you only make one video a year following your festival, that's not a very rich channel. You're not going to get that audience.
Yeah.
So take your coverage of your games and have it hosted on a channel like that's going to pull together all the best stuff from all around the country and make one landing page for all of that.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Well, and like, I think quality is big too. Cause like if you YouTube Highland Games like 4 years ago, it's going to come like the first like 5 videos are going to be, like promo, videos to, for certain festivals. And the reason, and some of them weren't even like big festivals, but they had a professional crew come in there and like film it and edit it. And so visually, like it passes the smell test, so people watch it. and it gets moved to the top of the algorithm.
Yeah. And okay, so for somebody who's totally ignorant to it, and they're going to come out to a festival for the first time, and they're going to see Highland Games, and they don't really know what they're looking at. That's enough to sort of entice them, right?
Hmm.
But for somebody who wants to be able to follow the sport in like an interesting way, um, yeah, you need that afterward piece. And I think a lot of times festivals end like there's all this hype running up to a games. There's all this promotion that goes into it beforehand, and then we throw the games, and then crickets for another year. And it's like, not only would that be a cool thing for people to watch right now, um, but next year it becomes promotion, right?
Yeah.
So
And like guys like me, I watch a ton of Highland Games, everything from 1950s till now. I've seen it all, and I keep watching it all. And anytime someone's at a games, like doing a live stream, I always get like so frustrated. I'm like, I don't have all day to sit here and watch this live stream, but I do have 30 minutes like later to sit down and watch all of it chopped up and edited. And so,
it's you don't know what you're getting, right? When you set up your camera on the field, like I went back and dug through a lot of the footage from Dublin, and it's like, okay, I had this camera right next to the speaker, so
yeah,
it's just loud, or you're here, you're not always getting the shot. I just bought a new camera and I absolutely love it because it shoots in 360 video all of the time. So I can
nice.
really just plunk it down near the trig. I don't have to sit there and fuss with it and like point it at the right thing. And later on in the app, you frame your shot and you can move it around.
Is,
So
is
it's like you
is
got
that
a
where
little
that video
cameraman.
came from?
Yeah,
Really?
yeah.
That's
And
pretty
it wasn't
good.
that expensive. It was a GoPro Max. It wasn't. It was like $250. Highly recommend. It has been awesome. And like if I'm competing, I don't want to think about it. I don't want to be on my belly, like lining up the perfect shot and remembering to start and stop. And then you run out of storage space and you run out of battery and all that crap. So, this was kind of a cool, like set it and forget it option. But sure, if you have people who are not competing doing your media, they're going to do a much better job.
Right. I made like the best joke to my wife when I was watching Levi's live stream, and I was like, "Oh man, you could really tell the age of these guys because it's just classic '80s and like early '90s rock."
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Well,
it was like high
we
school
had
locker room music.
Emily Adams was there with us all day helping us out, and she brought the music, and she asked
Mhm.
me like right in the first event, like, what do you want on? And I was like, rock, heavy metal, and that's what went on. We got like Lithium or whatever for the whole day, and it's like this works for me.
Yeah, you should have told her to put on her K-pop. She'll put you onto some shit you might not know you like.
Pass,
Pass.
pass.
Well,
We had Carrie Overfelt on the microphone all day, which was lots of fun. I wish I
mhm.
could have gotten a little bit more of him included in that recap.
Yeah.
He'll just take digs at you all day.
Oh, yeah, I bet. I bet. That's great. We are coming up on time. Do you have any final thoughts?
No, I got all my thoughts out. I think I'm good.
All right, hell yeah. Okay.
Just anybody who does want to come up for Thistle Day Highland Games, that registration's wide open. We tend to get our local crowd, but it is a great AM Games and AMS Masters, whoever. If you want to come visit fun country time celebration in upstate New York and see some fireworks after, you can find that one on Heavy Athlete. You can find it on EmpireThroneClub.com, and that's all I have to say about that.
Awesome. Um, yeah, that's it. Before I go, sign up for the Free State Highland Games, Lawrence, Kansas, October 18th, at the Douglas County Fairgrounds. All classes still have room available. Amateur men's is filling up, but it is not full by any means. So don't wait. Sign up now. We got a big pro class coming out. Some multiple world record holders. So you don't want to miss that. We also are having the Midwest Stone Fest put on by a local gym, per Aspra Strength. You can also sign up for that on Heavy Athlete. So if you want to do a nice little sticks and stones challenge and be crowned the Midwest Stone Champion, sign up for that. $20 there, $50 there. Have a good fun day on the field. Oh, and my shirt. Yeah. So 9 Point Athletics t-shirt. It sponsors the games, not just mine, but other ones. So buy those, support your local games. I do appreciate it. I work really hard on it. And that's it, guys. As always, throw far. God bless.